The Chicago Bulls take the court for their second preseason game, and this time they're facing off against the Memphis Grizzlies. We don't know who's starting for the Grizzlies yet. I have not paid attention to that. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but the Bulls will be down Kobe White and Jalen Smith out of their lineup. That gives Ayo Dosunmu an opportunity to start, as well as more players an opportunity to show what they can bring for the Chicago Bulls. We're going to talk about it, break it all down, have some fun and more. But first, we got to play that intro.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. And the Chicago Bulls in their second preseason game already are making changes to the starting lineup because of the injury to Kobe White. So Ayo Dosunmu is going to get the start. Excited to see how Ayo looks out there, adding that extra defensive pressure that the Chicago Bulls could need. We know in the first preseason game, the energy of that game really did change after Ayo Dosunmu came into the game. And so, that's a big thing when it comes down to it as well. So, now having two potential point of attack defenders in Patrick Williams, if he can get back to being the Patrick Williams we've seen defensively before, and Ayo Dosunmu could definitely change what comes down in that lineup for this team. So, and other things in that, right? Still looking for Pat and Josh Giddey to kind of continue to get back in rhythm, right? We know that both these guys were affected by injury. Josh Giddey, who didn't even start off training camp doing the contact version of practice. And so, he's still ramping up as well. Patrick Williams had a foot injury that ended his season. Now he's been doing 5-on-5 a lot longer, but it still could be, getting up to game speed. So watching those two guys and see, do they look better than what they did at least in that first preseason game? Do they have kind of a better rhythm when it comes down to it? Josh Giddey is very much a rhythm player, especially playing that point guard position for the Chicago Bulls. So let's continue to see how that's going to look for this team. And overall, outside of that as well, just you want to see overall smoothness from that offense, right? This is still an offense that's trying to acclimate to a new style. They didn't do it the best as far as from that starting lineup in that first preseason game. So you want to see those things start progressing for this team as well. Again, not to make any kind of long-term judgments or deep thoughts in regards to it, because it just comes down to, like, it's still preseason, right? And still the team working things out. We don't even know how many minutes the starters are going to play. For example, Ayo Dosunmu, not even while he did not start, but Ayo Dosunmu didn't even play in the second half of the first preseason game. So, the balances are still going to be a little bit weird when it comes down to it. But players that I really do want to see in this game, of course, Dalen Terry, of course, Julian Phillips, to see if they can continue what they showed in that first preseason game. So we're really looking out for them in that regard. And then now with Jalen Smith out, does Billy Donovan now actually play Adama Sanogo a decent chunk of minutes? He didn't last game. I think Adama Sanogo in the first game played 2 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. We want to see more from Adama Sanogo. This is a guy that basically dominated his position at the G League. You gave him another two-way contract, but we know he's trying to pull himself up and play at the NBA level. And so that's really what you're trying to see as well. Can Adama Sanogo give you a little bit more in this game? And so, those are kind of the main storylines. Of course, the back end of the bench, Arnold Patem, THT, these guys are still trying to make the roster. Chris Duarte is another guy who could step up for the Bulls as well, now with Ayo Dosunmu in that starting lineup. So really trying to see how all these guys and what they bring for this team. And so, EJ Liddell, Kenny Lofton, Arnold Patem, Adama Sanogo, these are all guys that didn't necessarily play a lot of minutes. Then now we want to see, can they play more minutes and how do they look in those minutes for the Chicago Bulls today? So those are all things we're really kind of looking at, see how it's going to go, and we'll see what it comes down to it. CHSN, not a cop. What are we talking about there? Oh, we back. We've been back, bro. You already know what it is, man. Like in the first intro, the new intro, yeah, listen, it is what it is. A lot of people using crack streams, meth streams, Stream East. If you can't see the game, there you go. What's up, hey, C-Red, go Bulls. What's going on, Jamal? Glad to have you back in the building, brother. We got Bulls Troy in the building. What's up, brother? What's going on, Troy? Glad as always to have you in here. I'm excited. Hopefully with the holdouts, we get to see another extended look at Modest and Jew. Yeah, listen, I'm not. If you notice, I don't worry. I think Modest is going to play minutes regardless. This is really, you may see a lot more and more Modest as the preseason goes on, unless, right? I'd say this: if we don't see a lot of Modest Bucilis in the last couple of preseason games, that could mean that the Bulls know he's going to be part of the rotation, and they're just like, hey, you ain't got nothing left to prove, young fella. Let's give the rest of these minutes to Julian Phillips and those guys in the last couple of games so they can continue to show us what they got. So one of the best case scenarios that I think you can see is if Modest Bucilis does not play a lot in the last 2 or 3 preseason games, because that would mean that Billy Donovan, who's already really talked glowingly about Modest Bucilis, has seen Bucilis' play and says, you know what? I don't got to see no more. We'll see you in the regular season, young fella. We'll see you in the regular season. Sup, Haize, and Bulls Nation. What's going on, Flip Side? Glad to see you back after a little while, bro. I'm excited to see more of Modest and how Giddey game will work with Io. Facts. Like, and the thing that you want to see from Josh Giddey, right? And the thing that he's capable of, because of his game and the fact that he's a playmaker first, right? Yes, Josh Giddey has put up 17 points per game before. He is a player that can score in the mid-range. He can get to the rim, things like that. But he's primarily a pass-first point guard. So whoever he's out there with, you want to see that chemistry. And he has the chance and the ability to build chemistry really with anybody in any lineup. And so you want to do a couple of things when you're playing with Josh Giddey. You want to run when you get out in transition. You want to cut to the rim when it makes sense. You want to move without the ball. If you do these things, Josh Giddey's more than likely going to find you. Like, Josh Giddey was in the 90th percentile as far as open shots generated for his teammates. That's not anything to overlook. That means that he was better than 90% of the league. 90% of the league at creating open shots. So, you really want to see that ability start rounding out here for the Chicago Bulls, because with the Bulls not having the best kind of isolation ball scores, and we don't want to be a heavy isolation team again, a point guard like Josh Giddey and Kobe White, who can also move the ball, and Io, who showed some ability to distribute out, especially in transition. You want to move that ball around. You want to move without the ball. And so let's hope that we start seeing that more consistently as well. What's going on, Haize? The best Bulls YouTube channel and content. I appreciate that. And Nord, I'm just a kid who loves his team. That's all it is. That's all. I wish that I hate when I have, like, there's a whole Chicago right here, and I don't think the camera picks it up. It's a really detailed hoodie because, like, it's all black, but they got, like, the detail in here. Don't come through. It's just like with the hat. There's a bull behind this bull on the hat. Listen, just know I'm drippy. If you saw me in person, you would understand the depths of the drip. Kobe out, Zoe out, Smith out, and we probably not seeing much of Adama because Billy can't create an effective rotation because he's a giant flapping Tanu Canoe. Well, no, I think at this point you're going to see a lot of Adama. If you don't see Adama, you're going to see a lot of Kenny Lofton Jr. You're going to see a lot of one of those guys today. Game day. Hopefully we see the starters playing the faster pace style we have been hearing about. Let's hope so. We saw it from the bench. G'day from Western Australia. Giddey is glue, makes all better. The Bulls are already starting to click. I mean, Gabriel, I listen, I won't say that they're starting to click for me, but I have faith that they will, right? So I'm not one of those guys like, oh, this will never work. Get Josh Giddey out of here. No, I think it's going to work. I think that when you are changing as much with the Bulls offense as what you're changing, there's going to be hurdles, right? There's going to be some dry patches. There's going to be some times where things don't necessarily look like a well-oiled machine, but it's coming. It's coming. I got my faith. It's coming. Edie versus Smith. Jalen Smith is out of this game. So look for more minutes from P. Will and a sign he's being ramped up. Sanogo hopefully plays, and we see how he measures up against Edie at times. Listen, the Sanogo Edie as two kind of slower centers that are just strong. Now, make no mistake about it. Zach Edey has a considerable size advantage over 6'9" and Adama Sanogo, but Adama Sanogo is built like a tank, so we'll see what happens there. Hopefully we see Kenny play this game. A lot of people are really high on Kenny Lofton Jr., which I'm not mad at. Like, listen, be high on your players. Liddell, Lofton, and Sanogo should play. We'll see. I mean, listen, one thing, you can't bet on anything that makes sense with Billy Donovan. You just can't. Lofton played for Memphis, so he may have some reason to play well. I mean, I would see that if that's regular season. I don't really think preseason, right? Will the game be blacked out on League Pass? If you're in the city of Chicago, yes. Yes, if you're in Chicago, it will be blacked out. It's not blacked out for me, for example. Hold on. Let me bring up my NBA League Pass real quick. I don't know if this happened to everybody else. So there was a new Windows update that came out, and it literally signed me out of all my shit. And I'm just like, you could have kept that fucking update if this was what you were going to do, you bastard. You millie mouth ass bastard. Like, what we doing here? Is everything blacked out today? Huh. Huh. I don't know if I like that. Fuck it, bring Joakim Noah out of retirement. We need to listen. Joakim Noah can't listen. Joakim Noah is way too high to guard anybody nowadays, bro. Like that, I guarantee you, if you ask Joakim Noah to give you a piss test, he'd piss out 3 trees right in front of you. Just 3 of them right there. As the scouts of NBA teams, Serbia, Spain, France, Croatia, Greece, Germany, to see European basketball, there are some crazy talents in basketball there, believe. Oh, we all know. Listen, we're not just NBA fans here at Chi-Town Sports Central. We're basketball fans. We actually are probably going to be covering some EuroLeague over on NBA Central, which is our sister channel. But no, believe me, and I am a big proponent of that. If you love basketball, definitely watch EuroLeague. And I tell you what, man, shout out for I forgot what EuroLeague's version of League Pass is, but I tell you, it's worth it. It's worth it. You see some great basketball, some great basketball. Jay Barber TV, what's up, brother? What's going on, Jay? Glad to have you back in the building. What's up, Haize? Go Bulls for a win. And listen, you always want a Bulls win. Exactly. If Modest doesn't play, they know what they got him. That's the way that I view it. That's the way that I view it. I don't know if anybody noticed, but I've been really impressed with how Terry is able to guard not just wing players, but really small guards like Jalen Brunson. I mean, yeah, that's part of that's where the league is going. And that's why people like Dalen Terry, who, offense is still very rough, have a future in this league, because if Dalen Terry is able to guard positions 1, 2, and 3, God forbid if he gets a little more strength and guard 1 through 4, like at that point, like, you're willing to deal as long as they're not making big mistakes on offense, right? Yeah, you got to fill them out with shooters. You got to have scorers around them. But players like that are going to stick on teams. Like, so, yeah, Dalen Terry's defensive versatility could bring a lot to the Bulls this season. RP those net Bulls. Those net Bulls? What? True Fitness, if you're in Chicago, it will. If you have an antenna, you should be able to get it. That's a fact. Who do you believe fits the system better between Phillips and Dalen Terry? I think they both fit the system. I mean, you look at, they're both athletic, can run the floor. Like, that's one thing. They could both jump out the gym. Julian Phillips is more of an athlete than Dalen Terry, but listen, they both got hops. Dalen can pass really good in transition. Julian Phillips is that 3-point shot. I think they both really fit the system in different ways, right? But I think there's something to be said about having 2 players out there like that if you're able to do it. Like I said before, they can be kind of like a Javonte Green and Derrick Jones Jr. kind of situation. And they both played on the Chicago Bulls at the same time, right? I would have liked to see more minutes with those guys out there on the court at the same time, but I think that those guys can bring similar things. The like button is free. Facts. Like button is free. I live in Champaign. Will the antenna work this far? Yes, because I think CHSN extends all the way to Indiana and parts of hold on. Coverage map. Let's see. So the coverage map, if this is correct, yeah, it comes all the way almost out to like parts of Ohio. So you should be good. Now, don't hold me for that, but looking at the coverage map, you should be good. So, yeah. Bulls had a lot of open shots last game. They just couldn't make any. I mean, and that's going to be one of the Achilles heels of this team for sure. Anyone have an update on where we can watch the Bulls game on streaming? So streaming is going to be very difficult at this point in the season. You're going to have to get that antenna. I don't think the Bulls' young core gets enough credit for how much potential it has, and all because we had a couple of veteran holdovers, Zach and Vooch. Well, I think it doesn't get a lot of credit because while there is potential, I think they get a knock because the Bulls haven't really developed people great. I mean, look at Io. He's definitely grown while he's been here in the Chicago Bulls. Definitely Kobe. Then I think there's also some of that doubt around the Chicago Bulls because of players like Patrick Williams and the players that left and they end up developing elsewhere. But we got some nice young pieces. Now, I don't know if any of those guys turn into have star level potential except Modest Bucilis, right? But yeah, we got like Dalen has tons of potential. Julian Phillips has tons of potential. Adama Sanogo has potential. Modest Bucilis absolutely has star potential. Let's get that fucking clear, right? So we got a lot of guys with potential here, and we just got to see if we're going to be able to extract that. I know it's spoiled milk, but I'd have half as many questions about this team if we use Caruso to draft a center instead. If we use Caruso to draft a center instead. I mean, the thing is you want to go talent. That's where the Bulls right now are in a place where it's not yes, you can focus on potential, but the bigger thing here is to focus on the best talent that you can get, right? And so they saw, but then again, the modest pick wasn't even because of Alex Cruz. That was our own pick we had anyway. You mean to trade for a center? I mean, not a lot of guys are giving up young centers. Would you rather have Zach LaVine or Prime D? Oh, come on, Prime D Rose, bro. That just goes without saying. That's not even a question. And no knock to Zach LaVine, but Prime D Rose. Do you think it's alarming if P. Will doesn't come out aggressive? I mean, at this point, a P. Will that's passive, I'll say this. He doesn't need to be extremely. I would love to see more of aggressive, but I just don't want to see him be passive, right? Like there's an area between being passive and aggressive, right? People usually think, oh, you're either being passive or you got to be extremely aggressive. No, I can see be in the middle. Just take the fucking open shots. Take the shot, P. Will. Don't pass it. Follow up your shots, right? Go after the rebounds. Go after putbacks. Just do those things consistently, right? I suspect that what happened in OKC will happen fast with the Bulls. Modest will be in calculation for honors guaranteed. I mean, nothing's guaranteed in this league. Nothing's guaranteed in this league. P. Will was aggressive last game. He was not aggressive. I'm sorry, Rob. I got to disagree with you. P. Will was not aggressive last game. Not at all. He did take shots, but taking shots doesn't necessarily mean aggressive. P. Will wasn't aggressive. He didn't attack a single closeout. He didn't move without the ball still. You can't be aggressive to me if you're not moving without the ball. So no, and then he was like a step behind defensively. I don't think P. Will was aggressive. But again, it is what it is. He's coming back from a foot injury. Haize, man, this is what's going on, Jay Capone. Why do people hate Giddey so much? He almost get Ben Simmons level hate because people are more worried. They're more focused on the narrative around him that started off last season than the actual basketball player. I believe Chicago should have gone with Ayo and White, but we will see. I mean, a lot of people think that, Vince. You're not out in the island by yourself on that one. A lot of people think that, and you may very well be right. Haize, did you hear that Joakim Noah say him and Rose used to smoke weed during the offseason? That doesn't surprise me at all. They don't get tested in the offseason, so that doesn't surprise me at all. None of the Bulls games have shown up for me on League Pass. I think it's crazy because of the new TV channel thing. No, that's not so that would have been the same thing regardless. So League Pass is a completely separate deal than CHSN, right? Completely different. So last year, if you're in Chicago, you couldn't catch games that were aired on NBC Sports Chicago. Now, I do think that CHSN is airing more games than what maybe NBC Sports was, but nothing changed in that part of it. The wing verticality AK wanted is starting to take effect. That's a good point. Look forward to seeing more chemistry develop with Josh Giddey on the floor. He's going to create a lot of open shots. They better be ready to fire or hit him in their face with the basketball. Hit them in the face with the basketball. For me, the game on CHSN alternate channel. That's possible too. GBG Von OTF. That's a long ass username, my boy. Shout out to you, fella. Shout out to you. Dalen and Julian are also both that's very true as well. Very true. Can't wait till the middle of the season when the overglorified role player P. Will is thrown to the bench in favor of Modest Bucilis. Jesus Christ. Bulls for Life just said, hey, Patrick, we got something for you. When Venue Sports live stream will be available this year, I heard a rumor I can combine Venue Sports with Hulu, free of ads, HBO Max, and Disney. I don't know what Venue is. I have no, and I'm not even trying to, I have no idea what Venue is. I've never even heard of it. You just, hold on. Oh, so something that hasn't launched yet. Hey, this does have the chance. So Venue Sports is owned by a combination of Warner Brothers, Discovery, Fox, and Disney. Okay. You just hit me to something. I believe we got one in Modest Bucilis. The kid real nice and has a killer mindset. Yeah, the mindset of Modest Bucilis is why you have so much faith in him. I think he meant if he gotten the OKC pick, if they made trade for. Oh, got you. My bad. I'm late as shit, Professor. Professor Haize. How we get it a professor? What's up? Come here. Why are you standing in the dark like a serial killer? Come on. Don't be now you afraid to get on stream. You bother me any other time. I love you. What do you need?
We need more batteries.
AAA or AA?
For the controller.
Oh, AA. You need more AA batteries? All right.
Yeah, Xbox.
Tell when you go upstairs, tell Alexa add AA batteries to the cart and I order.
For the Xbox.
Just say, don't say, because you're gonna confuse her. So you be trying to throw too much at Alexa. She's not that complex. Just say, Alexa, add AA batteries to the cart. That's all you gotta say. Yeah, that's all you gotta say. All right, love you. Passive P gives me so much. Otto Porter Jr. during his Wizard days. Not even, because Otto Porter Jr. even during his Wizards days still averaged, what, 16 points per game? Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, we're talking, don't get me wrong. Otto Porter Jr. was lazy as fuck when he was with the Wizards. But look, so his first year, 2 points. His second year, 6 points. Then 11.6, 13.4, 14.2, 12.6. He was still taking a lot of shots per game. I wish P. Will would shoot that much. That's it. I just wish P. Will would shoot that much. Why are P. Will's handles so booted? P. Will actually has good handles. P. Will actually has really good handles. I don't know why he has the dribble off the foot gene during games, but like if you watch P. Will ever in practice, and even if you go back and watch some of it, P. Will has good handles. I just think maybe he doesn't have the most confidence in it when the defender's in front of him. But then again, if you only can dribble when the defender's not in front of you, do you really have handles? So maybe I just killed my own point there. Right. I'm going to free stream to the Wolves fall, and that's what you should do. Hey, listen, do you? We criminals around here. Always measure trade pre-playing any minutes than during the season, and then years later it's always gonna. Oh yeah, facts. You always got to trades are always continually being reevaluated. Always, you have the initial winners and losers, but then you got, for example, right? Like let's say this season, Alex Caruso helps the OKC Thunder win a title, and Josh Giddey averages 14 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. That's low for him. I'm lowballing him intentionally. People are going to say, oh, my God, the Bulls lost another trade. Oh, my God, Alex Caruso was the godsend. Oh, no, what did we do? We traded Alex Caruso. But then let's say after the season, Alex Caruso, who's a free agent, leaves the OKC Thunder. The Bulls extend Josh Giddey, and then we have 4 years of Josh Giddey averaging 18 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. People may initially say the Bulls lost that trade, but then the Bulls won it in the long term. If that were to happen, what I just laid out, right? From Haize Sports Ball to Unc to Professor, next up, Doctor. That is crazy. That's crazy. Hey, Brody, hope you had an amazing week so far. Go Bulls and Bears. Thank you, MC Season, my little brother. You mentioned it in one of the episodes before. I've also talked about it. That injury that P. Will sustained was on the drive at the rim, and I always think the mental hurdle of not getting hurt again. I think, listen, I 100% agree with that. P. Will, people forget. I know it was only 10 games, and it's not like he scored a lot, but P. Will was very aggressive to start that season off. He was cutting to the rim. He was slashing. He was going after putbacks. Let me see if I can bring up that first 10 games of that season for P. Will. Can I still track that? Give me 1 second. That was the 2021-22 season, if I'm not mistaken. So he still only took 5 shots per game. So there you go. But it really felt like he was being more confident in regards to that. Haize, what reasonable goal would you like to see the Bulls achieve this game? I want better moving without the balls and better moving without the balls. Should have left that ass off, brother. But no, all jokes aside, that I really would like to see more off-ball movement for the team, moving at a quicker pace and more decisively is what I would like to see for this team. I'm scrolling up and down, caught my eye. Chicago Bulls Central looks so serious. Look serious? Oh, well, if you think we serious. Now we know the game, and I will seriously break down a game, but like we have fun here. Drip, where you get your gear from. So I say this all the time. So like Fanatics, Culture Kings, Pro Standard. I'm missing one. Why am I throwing a bring? Pro Standard, Culture Kings, Fanatics, Lids, New Era. That's primarily where I get my. I'm missing one. I'm missing one place that I get my gear from, and I can't remember off the top of my head where it is now. But I know I'm missing one. But primarily, though, most of my gear you see comes from those places. Most of it. Caruso is aging and was going to leave anyways. It's impossible to lose the trade long term unless Giddey leaves. I won't say it's impossible. I mean, honestly, I won't say it's impossible because if long term, if Giddey just sucks, which I don't think he will. I want to be clear. I don't want to trigger Giddey fans. But if Giddey just sucks, then you can lose it short term and long term. Like if you just find out that your backcourt of the future should have just always been Ayo and Kobe, and Josh Giddey just kind of gets phased out, you could lose that long term. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Giddey's adaptability, the way that he can create shots for his teammates, the way he can get players open, those things. And I said this all the time, if Giddey turns into either a solid, he doesn't even need to be a plus defender, a solid positional defender, or a at league average 3-point shooter, with Giddey's ability to drive, the quick first step, those type of things, if he does either one of those things, he could be a perennial all-star. If he does both those things, he is a perennial all-star with the way he's able to do other things. I feel like the Bulls have a lot of potential for the rebuild mode, but it's just too many players that you have to play in certain rotation. I mean, yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. What's up, Haize? I swear I hope these guys quit hating on Giddey and allow the kid to play, not like he's coming off an ankle injury. Yeah, I mean, Chicago. You know Chicago. Now, if Josh Giddey comes out this season and averages 18, 8, and 8, every Bulls fan is going to be like, P. Giddey, no, he's winning for us. Like, that's just Bulls fans we just approve it nation, man. It is what it is. Chicago Bulls Central, a real dedicated Bulls fan. Don't blame him because I love the Bulls as well. I appreciate that. Elite passer, elite vision, elite size, terrific strength, excellent finisher, elite pedigree leader. Look at the Olympics. Well, here's the thing that I'm going to throw to you, and not everybody who has a big Olympics has a big NBA player. Olympic basketball and NBA basketball are very different. Now, I will say this: he is an elite passer. He does have elite vision. He has good size for his position. I won't say it's elite because of the way that he uses his size. Now, if he becomes a better defender, that's where you can start saying elite size. Elite finisher, I won't say that yet either. Now, maybe he can turn into that. He's a really good finisher, but I won't call it elite yet. Not at the NBA level. But again, that's not to knock. I'm not a Josh Giddey hater. I really hope that Wes Unseld Jr. drills defense into all the young guys as soon as possible. That starting line last game was a bunch of snow cones. Man, listen, it was bad. It was bad, bro. It was bad. Haize, what's your view on how the preseason is going? I mean, it's been one game. I don't have a bunch of deep thoughts on it right now, bro. I really don't. Now, ask me after this game, maybe leading to game 3, but I don't have a lot right now. I don't have a lot. And blocks and still doesn't mean good defense. Like that's one of those highlight things, but that doesn't mean good defense. There's a lot of like Jalen Smith is a good shot blocker, but he's not a good defender. Defense comes down to a lot. Defense is more, because here's the thing. Yes, 2 blocks and 1 steal is good, but there are more possessions that you have to be on ball than you're ever going to block or ever going to get a steal on. So you can't call that an elite defender just because it was 2 blocks and 1 steal. You got to look at what happens on ball, what happens off ball, right? There are so many intricacies to defense that, yeah, if you want to just look at one stat and say, oh, well, he got 2 steals and must did good defense. No, Allen Iverson got a lot of steals, but the dude was a fucking cone on defense. So, that's just again, just to offer a different point of view. And again, not to say that's not Giddey as a whole. That's not what I'm trying to do. Why does Billy hate Dalen so much he barely plays? Dalen Terry was one of the first players off the bench and started in the second half last game. I don't think he hates Dalen. I don't think he hates Dalen at all. Yeah, the defense looked like a bunch of bad basketball players in a redemption movie. That's crazy. But all right, y'all. I love you guys, man. I'm going to go ahead ready to wrap this on up. Love you guys, man. Make sure you guys stay in tune with us, man. We got a new outro song as well. You're going to hear that here in a second. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See Red if you can, y'all. Peace.
Of the Break Media.